Start. Kyle. Here. Larry.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Ryan. Here. Danielle.
Here.
Jeremy.
Here.
Greg.
Yes.
Jim. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have proof of publication here, 2 of them. Visitor correspondence. Anyone desiring to speak on any item or issue not on the agenda or any item on the agenda that does not include a public hearing may do so, but shall be limited to 3 minutes. Persons should identify themselves by name and address. Person speaking should not expect the planning commission to engage in back and forth dialogue regarding their comments. Unless an agenda item includes a public hearing, no person may speak during the business portion of the meeting provided. However, persons speaking during a public hearing are limited to between 5 and 20 minutes. Public is advised that a copy of the Opens Meeting Act is located on the north wall of the chamber. 1 copy of all reproducible material to be discussed at this meeting is available for examination and copy. Item number 6, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Mark, second.
I'll second.
Scott. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Consent agenda number 7. Consent agenda is made up of the minutes of October 21st, 2025. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes. I would make that motion.
I'll second. Sorry, who motion?
Right.
Ryan, and then second.
Open public hearing. 8A. Dustin Nielsen, considering an approval of application for change of zoning and change of future land use map for the purpose of rezoning property for sprinkler and fence business. Okay, is Greg?
I'll just get it kicked off a little background commentary that tonight, or this afternoon, we have this parcel that's 294th Street, just directly east of the cemetery, just to put that in context. Basically, it's currently zoned TA transitional agriculture. The request tonight is to rezone that to a commercial use for a business. The future land use map would also need to be amended to conform with that because the future land use map has this whole area as a medium to high density residential. But this proposed rezoning change would be contiguous with the commercial zoning that is directly to the east across the street. So it would be contiguous for that. So with that, we have to answer any questions that you have for me.
I see we got a notice from the Douglas County engineer.
Yeah, just that if there's a new access, that would be a culvert thing, which is a standard item that they work with any type of development within their ETJ or within the county.
Okay.
Is there any parking issue? Will there be any parking issues there?
Well, basically, this is the first step in the process, and then you have to come back through a building and site plan review process for the project to find out what they're looking to do and how they're going to do it and everything else. So I haven't seen anything other than a schematic of here's the existing buildings that they want to utilize. I think they have plans to add on or expand some of these structures as well on the lot, because I believe it's 3 acres if I remember right.
It's 3 acres.
I have a question. It shows that the utilities provided will be people service for sewer, water will be people service, electricity OPPD, gas will be Black Hills Energy. I'm not aware that, the only thing I'm aware of out there is OPPD.
That would be correct. Sewer would be
I'm not sure what that's all
on site, septic, and then water would be, well, yeah, then probably propane would be the gas provider. or propane in lieu of gas, I should say.
Any other questions from the?
So the applicant is not here?
Right here. So,
Okay.
He was just doing a really good
Any
job,
questions?
so.
Well, wait.
Okay, we'll wait.
there you go.
Are we through with Craig? All right. Jeff, do you have comments on this one? Yes, sir.
I didn't have any comments. I'm just Dustin. I'm the applicant, so if you
Come
guys,
on over here and
very well.
let's take a look at you. State your name and address, please.
Dustin Nissen, 18031 Olive Street, Omaha, Nebraska.
Anybody have a question for Dustin?
Well, right now, this is a residential house. Is your intention to live there?
No.
Are you gonna rent it?
No.
No, it's not gonna be a house anymore.
Well, it's the current house that is there is the old schoolhouse.
Right.
And we planned on keeping it very, very much how it is. We were gonna turn some of the bedrooms into offices, and the basement looks like an area where we were gonna put storage. The existing double wide trailer would be storage as well. Where we were gonna store some parts in there. So everything that's there, we were gonna keep very much existing. We were gonna keep the front of it very much the same. So just the back would change a little bit. But we love the idea of keeping the old Valley Schoolhouse as it is.
It's a pretty quiet neighborhood,
The neighbors don't talk much.
except the workers across the road.
So this part that you want to gravel, I was curious what you're gonna store there.
We do have some flat trailers. We also have some trailers that we use for our sprinkler business. Just, being in and out of there.
Not gonna be heavy equipment or anything like that.
The heaviest thing that we own is probably a Bobcat
It's probably sand now.
out here,
Yeah.
probably underneath it.
Is any of that gonna be, that gravelled area gonna be laid down for anything, for lay down area, for material?
There's a spot for lean-to, just on I think it's the south side of the house. And we were gonna keep some stuff, and we were gonna fence that in so it wasn't visible from the road. But yeah, there were gonna be some areas that we do have some material there as well.
Any other questions? None? I'll close the public hearing. Any other questions from the board? If not, I'd ask for thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. I didn't know I was done. Sorry.
Yeah.
Very well, thank you.
Please do if you want. Okay, that's the recommendation to the city council.
I would like to object, if that's
Oh, I'm
okay.
sorry. Come on up.
Thank you.
You were skipping something.
I reopen the public hearing.
Sorry, I didn't know when to speak up. My name's Jackie, that's loud. My name's Jackie. I live at 808 Chisholm Trail in Omaha. I would like to politely object to the changing of the zoning. For as you guys are aware, on two sides of this old schoolhouse is the cemetery. I believe it would be disrespectful to the cemetery, which is currently wrapped around a old schoolyard, to instead wrap it around a 50-foot industrial building. It would be disrespectful to people mourning in the cemetery to have to listen to the trucks, trailers, and any loading equipment like a Bobcat going in and out. Sorry, I'm not good at public speaking. I do apologize. As you guys already know, this is a over 100-year-old school, Elm Tree School. With Valley expanding so fast, I think it would be a disservice to the city to take away something historic that the current homeowners have, I'm sure, spent countless hours preserving the history of this while turning it into their home. There's plenty of areas in Valley that have flat land we can use for this commercial business they want to move it to. There is a family that has already put in an offer and been accepted with the contingency of their current home selling to keep this home as a residence, to respect the cemetery and preserve the school and home as it is currently. I believe it would be a disservice to Valley while we are expanding and our economy is growing to get rid of some of this history and the peace that we provide our town in this cemetery. Thank you for letting me speak.
Greg, will there be setback reservations as far as increasing that because of the cemetery? Or
Fence the whole thing?
color fences or?
Yeah, without me pulling it up, you're kind of talking about like a buffer yard landscaping thing. We do have provisions in there that since this would be going to a commercial use as a new use compared to the existing transitional agriculture to the next, then we would require, the commercial zoning has landscaping requirements and I can't rattle them off the top of my head though, so. But I believe it's only like a 5 to 10 foot wide type magnitude. It's nothing that's 30 foot wide or anything like that for a buffer yard.
Do you have a signed purchase agreement on this, Brown?
Say again?
Do you have a signed purchase agreement?
No, sir.
Not yet. Subject to this.
It would be, yes.
Can I speak to that, or?
Sure.
My name's Michael Maley, 331 Village Point Plaza is my address, then Justin's agent. We had a purchase agreement on this for a month that was contingent on us kind of doing some due diligence. Out of respect for the seller, we terminated that with the understanding we were going to do a lot of this behind the scenes, just so he could go on the market and attempt to sell his house. It is true, there is a current offer on it that is contingent on a house in Papillion selling that has not sold because I talked to the agent yesterday. So it's an offer that's not an offer because they can't buy it until their house sells. The current owner does approve of our plan and we've talked to him numerous times, so.
Any questions?
Does the owner, is he leaning towards the Papillion buyer first? Or is
No.
he taking first available?
He would take first available.
And if can I speak?
Anything else for me? Okay, thanks.
In no way, and I appreciate you coming up here. I know I'm sure it probably takes a lot, but we keep a very clean place about. And as far as being respectful, I mean, we're always, I mean, if our guys are still at the shop at 7:30 in the morning, they're probably in trouble. So we're in and out of there pretty quickly in the morning. The loudness usually isn't really there. I mean, we drive minivans and there's not a lot going on in the yard itself. Most of what we do is out and about in the town valley, Omaha, Papillion, wherever we go. We very much want to keep the house as it is. We love the fact that it was an old school house and we want to respect that as well. It is not our intent to move in and take over that area and make a sham of it in any way. The 50 by 50 proposed building, I would guess that if somebody did move in there as a residence, a 50 by 50 building would probably be something that they would probably want to put there anyway and have some kind of working area. The only reason that we want that building is not to come in and out of there a lot. It's an area for our mechanic to simply work on things in a closed environment as opposed to having a bunch of stuff that is unsightly in the area. So it's a place for us to have those things parked and work on inside.
Are you planning to change the elevation at all? Because right now you're on the highest end of the property and it falls to the north.
Well, that's why we proposed the building up there as opposed to down at that bottom side
So
because
you're not gonna plan it to fill to raise the elevation
No.
where you're gonna gravel?
no.
Any other questions? Anyone else in the audience like to speak? All right.
Thank you again.
Then I'll officially close the public hearing. Again, any discussion from the planning board members?
I mean, if he doesn't own it, can he apply to change the zoning? Is that like legal?
I'm sure it is.
Or would it just, the council wouldn't approve it until after he purchased it? If he's not gonna buy it, why are we changing the zoning?
Do you have a purchase agreement subject to this?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Of course, you won't want to buy it if this isn't approved. Like I said.
Well, I mean, your approval is contingent on us closing it, just like us closing is contingent on your approval. You don't change the zoning, obviously, until we own it, but we can't purchase it without the zoning.
Well, we make a recommendation to city council and we make the final decision.
Yeah.
But if it's not changed, you don't want to put the business there because you wouldn't be able to.
That's correct.
Well, in Dustin's defense, I think, years ago, every cemetery in Omaha was kind of on a back street, side street, away from everything, but now most cemeteries are right on the main thoroughfare. West Center Road's one, Fremont has one, Columbus, all theirs are right on main thoroughfares. I don't know, in today's world, people find time to go to a cemetery on their own, and I don't know if that's something that I would disagree with as far as not allowing it.
I've got a question. Sorry, my voice is a little bit weak here. So is it appropriate for us to change the zoning of a property that isn't filed by the applicant, by the owner?
The owner has to sign the application. Greg pulled it up, I can't tell who signed it. Generally, if a property is under contract, that's conditioned on zoning or plating or anything like that, there's a clause where the owner agrees to sign, okay? And then you can proceed, the developer can proceed to get rezoning, plating, and all the entitlements. There was a statement earlier tonight, I can't remember who made it, that they let the contract with the owner lapse, and then there was just a statement that they had a contract with the owner. So
I thought that they had a contract with somebody
they
to buy it as a
have
house.
the pavilion, but,
Yeah,
if they have a contract there, they
they can't have a
shouldn't have
contract.
two
and
at the
have-
same
Yeah,
time. I had a case that actually went to the Supreme Court about that. That's a big.
that's a big
So,
one, yeah.
If the owner is not the applicant right now, I don't think it's appropriate for it to be here.
Would you like to come back?
I just wanted to clarify, the current contract with the Papillion resident goes through December 31st with 48 hours of first right of refusal.
But someone stated they would take first person that writes a check. Is that the case?
The way the 48-hour first right of refusal works is if we clear our contingency or have a good feeling about it getting cleared and we move forward, those people have 48 hours to get their house under contract and move forward. And if they can't, then the property goes to Dustin. But if they can, then it goes to them. So it sits in limbo during that 48-hour period.
I don't think it's the function of the planning commission to get involved in all the what-ifs that are here today on these contracts. I don't think it's appropriate for for this to be in front of you today. That's my opinion.
So what would we be approving? In other words,
Nothing.
recommend,
We'll table it.
Well, they'll have to come back, when it's clear that the owner is applying and the contractual rights are all in line with what they're asking you to do. And you're not in that situation right now.
I'm gonna make a motion that we table this item for the survey. I made the motion, John and
Greg said.
Greg seconded. Any other discussion on that? If not, voice vote, John?
Kyle,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Scott,
yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Jeff.
So when they come back, if they're successful, they'll have the documentation that says they represent
So
themselves.
somebody should look at it and make sure that's the case. Absolutely. It won't be me.
No, it won't be you.
Yeah.
I'll buy you lunch. No. All right, moving on to item 8B. Hyman Ventures III LLC, consideration approval of redevelopment plan. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone would like to speak on the redevelopment plan? I believe you've seen that before.
Yeah, you have.
So it all come back to us because you want to do.
You thought
gated
you're done.
community, right?
Brett Beller, 11440 Westerner Road. The redevelopment plan is the exact same redevelopment plan that you approved previously. I'll talk, if it's okay with you all, I'm gonna talk about all three matters real quick, to just explain why we're back in front of you. You've already approved the final plat. What happened though, sorry for members of the public, I'll try to bring this out.
We got copies here.
Okay, just so everyone can see it. If you remember, our streets were always supposed to be private. We were always maintaining these. The way the final plat, we submitted it, had these as public streets, meaning the city of Valley would have to take care of them. You would have to be in charge of them. That was never the deal. So these are all now private streets. We had to put these into an outlot, which means we had to amend the preliminary plat and then present a new final plat to you all. As part of these streets being private, there will be gates at our entrances here, which is in compliance with Article 10 of your zoning code. I don't know if that's ever been used in Valley for other gated communities, but that's part of your code. There is a waiver. I'm gonna have Kyle talk about that waiver just to explain so that the distance between these gates. The other thing that's changed, just so everyone's aware, there were, I believe, 6 lots up here prior. There's now only 4. So we just made those bigger lots. The other thing we did was we included these lots up on Ida Circle, and then all of the lots on 280th, those are all in phase 1. So we're platting these today. If you remember last time, those were in phase 2. We're just gonna plat everything. Why? Because as we've long told all the residents, there's no platting going on anything on West Valley. So nothing's changed on West Valley. We're making sure these streets are private. The TIF request is the same. The plat is the same, the timing is the same, everything else is the same, other than the fact of Kyle come up and talk just about what we're doing on the gates in compliance with Article 10. Kyle, come on up.
Make it upside down because why would I find, let's just make it the same direction.
Do you guys have this as well?
Yeah. Yeah. And we, what else do we do? Kyle Holt, ENA Consulting Group, 10909 Mill Valley Road. The good news is we were able to meet every condition in Article 10 with the exception of 10.3, which is the setback from the gate from public right of way. And specifically, there's 2 areas here that we are asking for a reduction from 100 feet to a minimum of 25 feet. And those would be our 2 secondary, what I would call is our secondary entrances. The one is off of 288th, and then the other is to serve the 4 lots off of Ida Circle. So if you go 100 feet back, then that gate dimension gets past the front lot line. So you would have driveways within the gated community that would be outside the gated community. And so that's the request for reducing that setback to 25 feet. The other part is from a visibility standpoint. We understand we don't want traffic backing out onto the public street. So in both of these situations, the current setback in public right of way to these gates is there's 37 feet in one location, and then there's 40, varies between 40 and 63 feet of right of way. So there's quite a distance between of right of way between the current through lane and where these gates are being proposed. The gate technology has changed quite a bit over the years. So instead of the old days of punching in a keypad, most all of these are through cell phones now. And so if you've got a guest that's coming, you can provide that guest a code through a cell phone app. And so that the queuing that you would get in a traditional gated community is much less likely to happen. But again, the biggest request here is the reduction so that those gates are visible. So someone that's pulling in goes, oh, this is gated. I don't want to pull all the way in, then have to make a U-turn to get out of there. So that's the visibility standpoint. And then also just so there's not conflicts with driveways in those 2 locations. And then I can answer any other questions. We did widen these out as well. So in the previous plat, the right-of-way was much narrower. These are now wider so that there is a turning, an ability to turn around. There's 88 feet versus I think the previous would have been probably 55 feet of right-of-way. So the outlots are wider, and that is to accommodate a turnaround movement for vehicles that do inadvertently turn in and then need to turn around. But again, all deliveries and truck traffic, we are intending that to come through the main entrance off of Ida Circle. answer any other questions.
How does that, emergency services? How does that affect that?
Yeah, so in that, emergency there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can do it in a Knox box or in this case, we'll provide the emergency services, the code or the, an entry remote basically, so that they have an ability to open those when they come to, and we can work with police and fire to see exactly what technology they want to use, but there's automated ways to have those gates open from an emergency standpoint.
So on the gate design standards, you're asking for a waiver just on 1B, which is dealing with 100 feet.
I think it's section 10.03 is the specific section.
Yeah, but within that,
Oh, and B, I'm sorry, you're correct. Yes, subset B of 10.03.
the rest of standards will be what the ordinance said.
That is correct. Sorry, yes.
Sometimes when fire and EMS gets called out is in a storm and power outage, how's this gonna affect that as far as getting in there? I mean, in the past, we've had to cut a gate to gain access.
So most all these gates are, in that situation, they're crash gates, and so you could crash through them or cut them if in that situation that was a requirement. I'm not sure, 100% sure with the ownership group. A lot of times on these gated communities that I've done, there's during the day hours, they'll leave the gates open. So that's a possibility, and then they're closed in the evening, so that might be a possibility as well on schedule. But those details we'll get back into, right?
So Greg, this doesn't have to be reviewed by the fire department.
I don't know.
And again, more than happy to meet with them and see exactly what technology they are most comfortable with.
You're our fire department guy.
Any plans for the old public access area and then this boat launch area? Anything change on that?
I think not at this time, but
I missed the question.
this is the east side, that public access
The old
area.
Public access.
That's
is
gone
not
away,
gonna be there
correct?
anymore.
What's that
happened to that?
Yeah, so actually I wanted to talk about that real quick. So just because I know our neighbors to the east are here tonight, I'd love them to hear it from me on the record. So,
Yeah, sorry. Shame on me for not catching that response.
So remember, when we did all this, one of the main things we heard from residents was concerns about parking and this public access. So that's all gone. So there's no public park over there. There will be, however, because we've said this a number of times to the Benson family, we will have a 6-foot type gate, or I'm sorry, fence, along with additional landscaping and berming to add some additional privacy to our neighbors to the east. They won't see a lot of folks as far as this being a public park. But there may be a chance that people are over here utilizing the lake and that sort of thing. But the other thing I was gonna touch on is, and Lori just mentioned, there are battery packs we can get for these gates that they'll install as part of this.
Okay.
They obviously do everything high end, and so that will be part of this as well.
Okay.
Is this gonna be set up as a subdivision? You know, who's gonna be responsible for this? And has that been determined, and is that gonna go forward in the same way? I mean, you say you're doing the streets and everything, so are you maintaining those streets all the way until is there a subdivision that you're gonna do it until the subdivision goes away, or is it gonna stay a subdivision?
That's the deal. So this is all private, meaning the HOA maintains these streets in perpetuity. In addition, under Article 10 of your code, we have to put in our declaration of covenants, provisions about that gate, about the private streets. So that will all be in the subdivision agreement that gets approved by city council. And we're fine with all of that.
And so the subdivision will be the ones, or the HOA will be the ones responsible for making sure that the residents are informed of what their requirements are.
Of course.
What your requirements are, and is there gonna be a transfer at some point from the subdivision to the City of Valley? Will City of Valley eventually take this over, or is
Not
this?
if you're so gracious to do that for us, but traditionally that doesn't happen.
Unless you have a subdivision agreement.
We'll have a subdivision agreement, but that subdivision agreement says that that's all private. We have to take care of that in perpetuity. we have, to answer your first question, we'll have those covenants, those get filed of record. So anybody that buys a lot in this subdivision, take title subject to those covenants.
You're okay with
When
this?
I get up there, I'll go.
Okay, all right, because I'm just trying to say,
Those are good questions.
how do you,
Yeah.
all right.
Go ahead, Jeff. Any other questions?
Yeah, one you gotta talk.
Not at the same time.
Jeff and I were talking about, we kind of morphed all three of the, action items here together, which is all good, so. Yeah, the developer and Kyle, the engineer, talked about this gated community. Basically, Mark, is the right of way, there is no right of way for the streets, it's going to be an outlot, so it's owned by the HOA itself, so there would be no ability for that to be transferred to the city, because it's all private streets, so that's kind of what's the formation of that. There'd probably be a blanket easement for utilities, for water and sewer, and power, gas, those if they don't locate within the 5-foot utility easement of the lots themselves, so. So that's kind of what's going on. You guys talked about maintenance, we just talked about the maintenance, that's theirs to do in perpetuity. EMS is one factor with a gated community of what does that impact, and that's something that would have to be worked out with the fire department of access to the gates, and how does that work, if it is a Knox box or is it a code, or, those kinds of things, so. And then, they did submit that waiver that they talked about with, the 100-foot, which, again, Brett was right, we haven't done this yet. I think it's been in the code for probably at least 15 years that I know of, that has not been used in Valley at all, so it measures 100 feet from the right of way. When I was reviewing it, is starting to look at it from a standpoint of, does it make sense to measure that from the through lane, which is what the developer's engineer did. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but then again, is you're looking at what vehicles are going to be stopped here, because obviously they're correct, is that the queuing of cars is more electronic base app, base phones and all that jazz, so you're really not talking about cars, it's really the emergency services that Greg was talking about. So it's like, if you have a fire truck sitting in there that is potentially gonna use a Knox box to get in, does that fit to where it doesn't back up onto the lane it just turned off of, and then how close is it to the gate? So what I would look to start to do is, I don't think there's a problem with trying to reduce that dimension from 100 feet and then looking at it from the through lane. I don't think it should be 25 feet from the property line. So it's like, they have 66 feet right now in their drawings, if I remember right. Kyle can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it could be a lot closer to, like, say 80, because your fire trucks can be 40 feet. I mean, you have a hook and ladder that's probably 50 foot. I'm not saying that should go out there, but if that's the only fire truck that's available for the call at the time, that would be the one sitting there waiting for a Knox box. So it's like, I think they have 3 locations that this dimension only affects really the one cul-de-sac off Ida Circle, where the 4 or 5 lots are on the north east corner of the lake. Because the main entrance, the gates are set well back, and they have another entrance, and then off of Jones Circle off 288 again. Those gates could sit back a little bit farther towards, in the magnitude, I'm just saying 80 foot with my kind of brief research that I did last week on this, that the gates sit far enough back to where you can get the fire truck per se as the EMS service in there. So it's sitting to where it's not on the road, still not too far to their point of, you get a bunch of cars in here needing to turn around, and that still can use the turnaround to get out if there was somebody that turned in there that was not supposed to, or got lost, whatever. To where they can get turned around. So then it's really just down to the one off of Ida Circle. And then if that just gets pushed back, I'm saying the 80 feet and they have 66, it's 14-foot difference. And it still allows you to use that first lot and have a driveway on the outside or inside of the gate, so that it functions and acts as what their original intention is. So that's kind of my recommendation on it for the city, is just to look at an 80-foot dimension from the edge of the travel lane, from the 100-foot that's in the code stated right now.
Any questions of Greg? Jeff?
Yeah. Okay, what's your first name?
Short and sweet.
I don't have a lot. Just to answer your questions, I don't disagree with anything Mr. Beller said about the declaration. I'll go into it in a little bit more detail. I've been around for 15 years and we've never used this provision of the zoning ordinance. It's done all the time in Omaha. So I think that there are ways to work things out as far as access. The declaration that Mr. Beller talked about is mandatory. It has to comply with the code and be filed of record at the time of the final plat so that there's notice to the world of what this situation is. There's also a notice in our code, here the exact name, the Gated Community Cost Disclosure Statement. And no contract for the sale and purchase of a residential lot or home in a gated community shall be effective until a gated community cost disclosure statement. And there's a form. It just lets them know that the HOA is in charge of the maintenance forever and is going to spend money. This area is in the city, okay? So the value that they build, the valuation comes into the city right away, like Flatwater. They have a little bit of a TIF that they've asked for. If they get that, it's still very small in relationship to the projected valuation of their whole development, okay? It would be paid off, I think, fairly quickly. So the value comes in. It's not an SID, it's not a TIF. So that happens, the value comes in. And the fact that that it's a gated community and that the roads are private really doesn't have anything to do with that, okay? So it would, it's already in the city. It's going to stay gated unless they screw it up. If they don't, if they don't maintain the street, there's a provision in all of this that after notice, the city can come in and do that and charge them, so on and so forth. We have that provision in most of our subdivision agreements. So let me see. Obviously, the design standards for the streets and the gates and all of that have to comply. Greg gets to look at everything and approve it and make sure it complies with the city design standards. You've talked about access. I know that Bobby Martinez, the police chief, has looked at this and feels that he can get comfortable with it. He had some questions about it at first. Mr. Beller's indicated they'll contact the Suburban Fire District, and we want them to do that. That's part of what's going to be in the subdivision agreement, that there has to be a sign off on that. There is an easement, as he stated, on the outlots that are the street, and it's granted to the city so they can get in and, for the drainage and the utilities that are in there, so the city has access to everything that the city needs to do, because the city is still maintaining the water and the sewer lines. And in terms of how we do development in Valley, where we make the developer either pony up the money or come up with an ILOC for the total cost of the development, they're still doing that here. I mean, it's just that the streets are private, but the agreements ultimately that go to council, the TIF stuff, the redevelopment contract, but everything else that we do, they'll have to do. They're going to have to, pay all the fees and put the money up for the total cost of the development, just like anybody else does, just like all the other developers. So that hasn't changed. Let me see if there's anything else in here noteworthy. The homeowners association is mandatory. Everybody has to be a member of it, okay? So there's a big part of this is notice. You're not going to be able to buy a home out there unless you know what you're getting into, and then you're going to be charged for the maintenance of the streets, not going to be paid by the city. So your dues are probably going to go up, right? That's the purpose of the notice.
So do you have a requirement then that they will establish an HOA?
Oh, absolutely. They have to. Yeah.
They have to do, and they have to get the articles of incorporation and all that.
Yeah, and there's also a requirement in there that they maintain a policy of general liability insurance with a $5 million limit, a minimum of $5 million, and they'll do all that. The city has to be named as a named insured. And so, again, we've never done it, but we have a good procedure to do it, and we'll make them follow the procedure. That will be in the declaration and the subdivision agreement. There's nothing to negotiate. They have to do it right, and I think they agree with that. So I think they will. So, Mark, does that answer the questions?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, it doesn't come in conflict with the city of Valley, because eventually their covenants will override some of the requirements of the city of Valley, won't it?
Oh, I don't understand your question.
If they're gonna have an HOA and they have covenants, so if they require of their members that they do this, and the city says you have to do this, who wins in that discussion?
Well, it's a private street. I think that's what would control. If you want to do a doomsday thing where they develop this and, they don't sell any lots and we got grass growing up through the cracks in the pavement 10 years from then that'd be a problem certainly that the city would have to deal with,
All right,
whatever's in the documents.
I just wanna make sure that it's all set and that.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it'll
the
go
city will be
smooth.
in the best position it's gonna be in. We'd have that problem with any development. And we would have been maintaining the streets. So I can make an argument you're better off for a period of time but they wouldn't be maintaining it under my hypothetical, if you're with me, so. Questions?
Any questions, Jeff?
Yes. I have a $3 million question. With this TIF, when this all first started, there was gonna be all kinds of public amenities, everything going on. Now there is absolutely zero.
No, there's a trail, just the trail. Yeah, all the other stuff is gone.
With the trails, right?
No,
No.
no.
Because it isn't Valley's criteria that if there has to be some public use for.
That's been the philosophy we follow, yeah. That's up, that'll be up to the CDA and everything. That's certainly an issue, and I know the developers are aware of that too. So, really from planning perspective, planning's job, as you know, is to determine that what's in front of you on a subdivision complies with a comprehensive development plan. You've already determined that. There's really no difference here tonight. I mean, it's good to go through all this so you know what is happening. But it's always been contemplated, and it's certainly contemplated in the comprehensive development plan that this is lakeside residential. I mean, that was the idea 15 years ago when I was hired to do the annexation, to bring all that stuff in, that it would be part of the city and not an SID going out west of the city, and that's what's happened. This is the last piece. So
I just felt that, and I still feel that whenever TIF is mentioned, the more it can be talked about, whether it's
Sure.
our turn to talk about it.
yeah, I agree. I don't have a problem with that.
I just think more people will talk about it.
No, and I think that's an issue, and the developers are gonna have to address it. Yeah, no question.
The Zoom type of deal, that there's people in town that still don't understand why, what, and how come that's allowed.
I'm aware.
So it's important.
That's it for me? Okay, thank you.
Grant, can you speak to what the $3 million is gonna be spent on?
Me?
Yeah, I think you did that once.
Yeah, I did.
Their lift station and.
So Brent Beller, 114 West Center Road, that TIF is for true public improvement. So the biggest amenity is that trail. So that trail, 10-foot wide crossing. The other thing we've said is in the event that Valley wants crosswalks from Flatwater over that trail, that's what that TIF goes for. The improvement at the intersection, I think it's 288th. If there's future contributions to that, that's what that TIF money goes for. There's also what's called TIF eligible expenses that aren't the shiny things everybody sees like a trail. That's your infrastructure. So some of the erosion control that we have to do along West Valley and 288th. Some of the public improvements for extending that sewer line, the pump station, the capital facility fees that we paid at the city, those are all TIF eligible expenses. Most people don't know that. What we're not doing is we're not including the acquisition costs. That's where people get sensitive because acquisition costs on this deal are upwards of $9 million. Under the state statute, you could say, well, we should get TIF for $9 million. We're not doing that. That's never been part of the deal. The biggest removal and reduction, when we started this, it was $6 million that we were asking. We took $3 million out because we're not doing that public park and all the parking and associated stuff. So that's really what was taken out. The last thing I'll mention in that redevelopment plan, we still have in there earmarked, if the city of Valley were to say, we want to take you up on this offer, we have a public improvement, whether that's the pool or anything else, there's an allotment of $2 million if the city wanted to do that. That's part of this. If the city were interested, we're okay with that, but if you're not, totally fine too. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Matt, did you want to say something?
Hello, Matt Bevington, 28001 Ida Circle and 304 North Pleasure Lakes Plaza. I own Valley Corporation and also a lot over at our lake over there. So I've got just a couple of issues. I think to start off with, I just wanted to say I do support the project. I think it's going to be a great project for the community. But I just want to make sure that as we move forward, some of these issues are getting addressed. Lori was kind enough to bring a kind of a mood board or what they're proposing for fencing, which I appreciate that tonight, but we don't have any plans as far as where that fence is going to go, where it's going to stop. We're talking about now running public up through the entire east side of the lake. And I just feel like, especially with the TIF ask, we need a detailed, comprehensive plan to know what we're approving. So I don't know how you're going to move forward with that, but that would be one of my comments that I would have. Also on the north end of the property, lots 121 through 124, they're showing the trail going through that area with some berming and some landscaping. Right where all that's going is basically a drainage way that carries a lot of water. Basically all that water from the tracks where that bridge is by Ida Circle comes straight south there. So I'm just trying to figure out how all that's going to get fit in. Whether or not there's been any thoughts, thought about the grade differences. My property's, obviously much higher than the other properties. So, does our berming or does our fencing do what it's supposed to do, right? Elevation makes a big difference when you talk about trying to screen things. So I just doesn't seem to me like there's been enough thought put in there. And then lastly, my biggest issue I have is I still don't believe enough thought has been put into dumping this traffic onto Ida Circle. We've got hundreds and hundreds of heavy trucks a day running through there. And we are used to some traffic and we're used to being in traffic, but there is an option to go on Ida Street. And to me, it seems like that's been ignored. It has not really been looked at as a viable option. And so that's what I'm asking of the Planning Commission today is that we deny until we really explore that option, because I think the idea of dumping these high-end residential people to intermix with industrial traffic is just a bad plan. I think they're going to be back up here talking about that when the time comes. So, Blue Water's done it successfully. They're dumping right onto Highway 64 there. So there's no reason why this plan can't move forward in the same manner without dumping traffic onto Ida Circle. So, and with that, I think I'll just those are my comments for all three items. So, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Jeff, would some of those things be in the TIF agreement that Matt mentioned, for fencing and all of that, or is that all?
Well, it would be an exhibit, be part of subdivision agreement, I would say, and could be over in the redevelopment contract. But there are issues that still could be dealt with, I suppose, people sit down and talk about them.
So all Matt's issues will be answered or not answered in the subdivision agreement?
I can't predict that, but it's certainly, they're all fair issues to bring up at council too, obviously.
Yeah.
Whatever you do.
Well, will the final plat address how they're gonna do, your questions were, how are they gonna do this? With the final plat that they bring forward, have to address this?
We've got a final plat that still hasn't addressed the traffic concerns of it.
Brent Beller, 11440 Western Road. So we've been through all of this many, many times. We have to have these access up here. Fire and safety require those entries the way they are. This fencing is not in your code. It's not a platting requirement. That was just us accommodating our neighbor. This fencing will go all the way from the south, all the way to the north. That'll be there the entire time. So we haven't changed that. That's been the deal from day one. Nothing's changed. All of the grading and everything's that's along here, we engage a professional engineer that looks into this. We also get this blessed by the city's engineer. They're a part of all this, so I trust the engineers to know what they're doing with that landscaping and that berming over there. This is what they do. Up here, I don't know what to tell you. That's a public right of way. We have every right to access that, just like Valley Court does. There's not a ton of lots that are empty in there. The reality is most of our traffic is probably going to be moving out to that exit anyways. But you know, I don't know what to say about hundreds of cars or trucks. We did a traffic study and it did not indicate that there's hundreds and hundreds of vehicles on that road. But all I can say to Mr. Bevington is we'll obviously be good neighbors to them. They're a great company. We do a lot of work with them. And I trust that if there's an issue, we probably could have a quick conversation as to what we can do to address that.
Greg, did we look into, I know we talked one time about the width of that pulling out on with trucks, and so it wouldn't become like over here by 3M and 256.
Yeah,
Was that ever an option to move that farther west? That entrance, was that ever discussed with you and the developer to come off the lake and
first thing,
you would just lose lots, right?
Right.
Because
That's developable ground, so that costs money.
Brian, to your first question, yes, Ida Circle, we have looked into that. I don't have any of that information with me, but there could be perhaps improved slightly to where it helps turning movements with the trucks and or the combination with the traffic. That's not a major item here on the entire scheme of the project, so that can easily be incorporated. To Mr. Beller's point is, yes, I think the original platting of this project 4 years ago included a different location on Ida Street, Highway 64. Of course, the benefit of where it's at now with using Ida Circle is proposed is it coming off of the viaduct. You already have a 3-lane section, you have a dedicated left turn lane. So that does provide some safety measures there for the turning traffic into Valley Corp 1 and also the development number 2.
I wonder if it's something that can be incorporated into the HOA from the city to just make the homeowners aware that, like, you're pulling out into the industrial road, truck traffic, it might be to your benefit to use your private entrance as designed.
I think it's a proper function of the city to be telling people which entrance and exit they should use.
Well, I'm just thinking as a buyer. If I wasn't told when I was being sold a piece of property that there's a bunch of big trucks coming by every day and I've got a kid that's going to school, that's just learning how to drive, that would be a pretty big issue with me that, well, why didn't, maybe I should have done my due diligence or whatever and picked a different lot. But I'm just kind of, throwing stuff out there. Come on up.
Kyle Hole, ENA Consulting Group, 10909 Mill Valley Road. So yes, there was a previous concept where there was an access to Ida Street, exclusive for the neighborhood. You still would have that cul-de-sac of 4 lots in the northeast corner. The reason this was chosen was, as Greg alluded to, there is a partially improved interchange already at this particular location that we can then contribute to and further improve that particular location. Our traffic is going to interact with that industrial commercial truck traffic. Say we move that entrance west. We push the problem down 2 blocks. We interact with it 2 blocks further to the east on now a 45-mile-an-hour posted speed limit roadway versus on the 25-mile-an-hour local street. So there was a lot of thought that went into the configuration and the location as to where we chose to make that connection again to a public street. And we thought connecting to the local street is a better interaction than on the higher speed Ida Circle, or Ida Street, I'm sorry.
All right, anybody else have any comment on this item? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any discussion, questions, planning commission for anybody in the room?
I have a question.
I'll open the public.
I'm not hearing the other end of it. I'm hearing the other side of it. I'm Gloria Mosser and I live on Valley and I know, 28019 West Valley Street. And they've been talking about the other side. And I came in and talked to the gentleman of the city the other day, and I didn't realize they have completely, is that correct? Taken out the houses and stuff that are on Valley and the
We are
condos?
not, but.
Okay, my other question that I didn't see on that, because I can't decide, I'm not a map person, I am, but I'm not one of those. Map where the dock is and if the dock has been changed too. So is the dock still straight across
Same
from ours?
location, yeah.
I live in a house exactly by the dock. And I know they said that yours have to stay in all the time and they can't come in and out. Ours don't come in and out very often, except when they come in the beginning, which maybe yours will never come in again once they're there. But once they do start coming in and ours are coming in and back and forth, that's gonna be a very, very complicated area because that we back up 3 or 4 cars and trucks when we're coming in, and we back up 4 or 5 or 6 cars when they're coming out. Trucks ready to come out and in because we have to get a person to unlock our gate and, they might do 3 at a day or something like that at a time. So if they're all there going in, is it still gonna be a mess out there on the street where they're parked because the cars can't get through? Thank you.
Fred Butler, 11440 West Center Road. So we have talked about this a lot. We probably need to have a conversation with Flatwater. Our plan for ours is you go in once, you get out once. We're also gonna stagger those times so that we are not causing that issue that she's currently living with, where you have 10, 15 people lined up. We'll have time slots where people sign up. Here's your time slot. It's probably gonna be over the course of a few days, maybe not a single day, because there's gonna be a lot of people out there that have boats. So we will coordinate that, so she's not living with cars stacked 10 deep. I would ask maybe, and we'll coordinate, we're happy to coordinate with the Flatwater folks, and maybe they can do something similar so that your issue is not being compounded by us, and maybe we can help the Flatwater folks as well. So well aware of it. We don't want that as much as she doesn't want that either, so we'll be good neighbors.
That's an HOA.
That's an HOA thing, yep, 100%.
One question, Brent, though, yours is off street. I mean, you're gonna be able to pull in.
And that's the other
turn
thing
around
is,
and everything, where
we-
they're not, they're actually having to back in off of Valley Street. which
Correct.
is-
we'll have
You're
turnarounds.
you're gonna be able to pull in off Valley Street, turn around and back in.
100%. So our situation is, not that Flatwater has an issue, but our issue is less compounded. We have a lot more space on ours. The best thing we can do is coordinate with the folks at Flatwater to say, hey, when are you getting boats out? When are you getting boats in? We'll pick another day or another couple days. I mean, that's an easy conversation to have with our future neighbors.
Thank you.
Anybody else got anything to say? Are we just sure now? Going once.
Hello, you guys.
Close the public hearing.
Hold on.
Roger wants to speak.
All right. I was waiting, Roger.
Give me time. Roger Bevington, 304 Northwest Street. We have concern on one of the plans that we've seen. It's showing some kind of a public stage that ends up down in that area where nothing is shown on the plans.
Do you have that plan?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. Can we see it? A stage?
There's several items that are listed in there.
There's proposed stage and sand beach and.
That was all.
That was all frozen. It's all-
That's all
10 months ago.
That's all gone.
That's all gone?
All gone.
Thank you.
One more time. All right, I've closed the public hearing. No one wishes to speak. Discussion, questions, planning commission members, anything else? All right, I'm asking for a recommendation on this item for the city council.
We are doing 8B, the redevelopment, and I'm doing all three.
We can't do all
Separate, groups.
separate, we have to go separately. So this is the redevelopment plan.
Yeah.
Then we've already approved once except for the meeting. Kyle, second?
I'll second.
All right. Any other discussion? John, voice vote?
Would we need to do the resolution, just as a question for that one, the redevelopment plan?
Resolution number 2025-03. A resolution recommending approval of a redevelopment plan of the city of Valley, Nebraska, and approval of related actions. Whereas pursuant to and in furtherance of the Community Development Law, Chapter 18, Article 21, reissue revised statutes of Nebraska as amended, a redevelopment plan has been prepared and submitted to the Planning Commission by the Community Development Agency of the City of Valley, Nebraska, and Hyman Ventures III LLC, a Nebraska limited liability company, in the form attached hereto Exhibit A, for the purpose of redeveloping the redevelopment area legally described on Exhibit B. Whereas the city has previously adopted and has in place a comprehensive development plan, which includes a general plan for development of the city within the meaning of Section 18-2110 of the Act. And whereas the commission has reviewed the redevelopment plan into its conformity with the general plan for the development of the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the Planning Commission of the City of Valley, Nebraska as follows. Section 1. The commission hereby recommends approval of the redevelopment plan with such changes and revisions as deemed appropriate by the agency. Section 2. All prior resolutions of the commission in conflict with the terms and provisions of this resolution are hereby expressly repealed to the extent of such conflicts. Section 3. The resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage as provided by law. Dated November 18, 2025.
Okay, this resolution will not be signed, so we have a vote. We got a motion and a second to approve. A voice vote. John?
Kyle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Jim?
Motion carried. All right, we'll move on to 8C. Hyman Ventures 3 LLC, Champion Shores, consideration approval of revised preliminary plat. I'll open the public hearing. Any public comments, proponents or opponents on the preliminary plat, which again is only different because of the gated community. It was added since the last time we approved this. Okay, nobody wants to speak on this, right? All right.
I don't have to read.
All right, I close the public hearing. Any discussion on the preliminary plat that we kind of beat up here? All right. I'd ask for a recommendation of the city council on the preliminary plat.
I would make a recommendation to approve.
Second,
I'll second.
Scott. Brian and Scott. Any other discussion? All right, voice vote, John?
Kyle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Jim?
Motion carried. Item 8D, Ventures 3 LLC, Champion Shores, consideration approval final plat. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone want to speak? Come on, Greg.
We covered it.
All right. All right, I'm closing the public hearing. Discussion, questions by planning commission members? Anything else you want to beat another horse here? All right, recommendation of city council. Motion. I'll make a motion, we approve.
I'll second.
Greg, second. Any other discussion? Voice vote, Don?
Kyle,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Mark,
No,
Ryan,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Jim.
Motion carried. Okay, let's see what we got here. I think the agenda's the last thing. All right, I got a little statement here I would like to read. To Jeff and Andrea's not here, Andrea's not here, sorry. I want to thank you for the planning commission and personally for your knowledge and wisdom over the last 15 years. Your counsel has been invaluable and has guided us through major growth in our community. Thank you, Jeff.
You're very welcome, Joe.
Mike, you want to introduce yourself?
Mike Gorman. Right now I'm the office manager, working for the city, doing a lot of the work that the city administrator was normally do. Trying to help the city through this transition, with all the vacancies that we have and so on.
are you in a permanent position or is this temporary?
It's, I'm kind of just going with the flow right now, but it would probably be more temporary.
Mike, what's your background?
I'm a civil engineer. I worked for City of Castro, Iowa DOT, City of Omaha, I was a city traffic engineer there. Did that for 13 years. And I've been a private consultant ever since then, working a lot with cities and counties and cities. That type of work. Kyle and I worked a lot together over the years.
Moved to town a few weeks apart.
Yeah, we go back to the mid-80s. So,
We doing it for life.
I live on Fernwood.
Welcome, welcome.
Still catching all my out there.
They're still out there. They don't get taken. Yeah,
You have a pontoon boat?
I did. I got rid of it. I'm looking for a new one.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
There's 9 of us, so get a 28 footer, will you?
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
We there.
Have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Kyle's making the motion.
Yeah, I can help. See y'all.
Right.
We gotta take
Talk to you
okay,
later.
yeah.
Kyle, Greg.
I'll have to get that
Well,
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you guys. I really mean it. Always been enjoyable.